Everybody, I am just kind of a hot mess today, but and there we go, the first thing dropped. Oh well, the mouse is okay if it gets dropped. I'll tell you, this is one of those days where I definitely needed my coffee in the morning. TSL pumpkin pie spice in my coffee for a pumpkin latte, and it is absolutely wonderful. It makes my day very happy. Okay, so we have got a tremendous amount to do today, and so we need to get busy. The very first thing that we're going to do, we are making keto mashed potatoes. Yes, you heard me say that correctly. Keto mashed potatoes. Actually, more accurately, it is keto mashed potatoes, not keto, carnivore even. So a step further than keto. There is nothing in this recipe that is carby. So there's a little bit of carbs in eggs, and we're using egg whites to make this. So we will have a wee bit of carbs in it. And I forgot to grab my spoon. So I'm just going to grab that while you guys contemplate how you can make whipped potatoes with no carbs. And I promise you we are going to do that today, and you are going to be amazed. This is just a game changer in our house. It truly, truly is. Okay, so the very first thing that we are going to do is put 1 stick of butter, so 112 grams. Now, I am using Lactancia butter with sea salt. I like Lactancia, good morning Mom, I like the Lactancia butter with sea salt because I know that there are issues with sea salt, but it is a whole lot better for you than table salt. And those are our choices. So here we go with 112 grams or 1 stick of butter. And we are going to turn that on. Now I'm using my magnetic induction burner, and I'm turning that on 4, and we're going to let this start melting a little bit. Now I want to give a huge big shout out to Chris at Chris Cooks Nashville, because this is his recipe and his video went viral. The big change, while we watch this butter start to melt a little bit, the big change that I made in this recipe that really is not that big, his recipe called for 32 ounces of egg whites, and this is 1 kilogram because we're in Canada. So I bought a carton, a 1 liter carton, or 1 kilogram carton they call it, of egg whites. And so there's a little bit of a difference there. Instead of 32 ounces would be in the 900 gram range, and we are using about 1,000 grams. So, you know, that's a bit of a difference, but I think we can deal with that. Now, once your butter is starting to melt, do not brown the butter. Now, it might be a good thing. I haven't tried it, so, I mean, you're welcome to. If you accidentally or on purpose brown the butter and you want to let me know if that makes a nice difference for this, you definitely can. This is another one of those things where I say, your kitchen, your rules. So as this butter is starting to melt, before it is totally melted, we're just going to set this out of the way, and I'm going to add the entire carton of egg whites. Now, in the interest of making this take a little less time, I brought my egg whites out and I let them get to room temperature. That way we don't have to warm them up on the burner. So now we are going to, so we have our butter in the pan, we have our egg whites in the pan, not whole eggs. It has to be egg whites. Now that makes this kind of a pricey recipe to make, and I understand that. Watch for egg whites to go on sale. Now I just added half a teaspoon. I know it doesn't sound like much, but it makes a difference. Half a teaspoon of salt, Redmond real salt. And so that's an important ingredient. It just kind of starts to wake up those flavors a little bit. Now we are going to take this and just set it in here. I would rather clean the egg whites up out of a bowl than out of a or off the counter. Okay, now two of the ingredients pardon me, two of the ingredients that we need in here are gelatin, just plain excuse me, cream in my coffee again this morning. Hi, Del. So this is just plain bovine or beef gelatin, an organic gelatin. And then the other one is toasted gelatin. Now, I don't know that you can really see the difference. Yeah, you can kind of see the difference in here. It is important. Now, I had never heard of toasting gelatin. You can see a bit of a difference there. I do it in batches now because I want to always have it on hand. This just really has been a game changer in our house. We have had roast beef and mashed potatoes. We've had pork chops and mashed potatoes. We've had hamburgers and mashed potatoes. We have had potato salad. Yes, you can do that too. It's a thing. Now, get my spoon back here. The big thing with this, and this is what takes the longest, honestly, is cooking the eggs. And you really, really need to make sure that these eggs do not brown. Gelatin, we want brown, toasted. The eggs, we do not want toasted. So, oh my goodness. And did she learn from having the first cup of coffee with cream? Not so much, apparently. Because I did it again, but it's pumpkin spice season. Come on. So yesterday, I did my last farmer's market for the season outdoors in Rimbey, Alberta. And on Thursday, it was outdoors in Lacombe, Alberta. And on Wednesday, so I'm working backwards this week, it was supposed to be outdoors, but it was way too windy and dangerous to be out there, in Wetaskiwin, Alberta. So Wetaskiwin, you can still find me every week at the Ag Center in Wetaskiwin, Alberta. So Google Wetaskiwin Agricultural Center. It will show you exactly where to go, and then you can come and stock up on your spices, unless you want to send me an email, text message, whatever it is. Pardon me. And we'll see about getting you some spices. Now, I met so many amazing people with so many incredible stories this summer. People who had just been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. People who had been struggling with celiac disease. One lady who told me her husband eats meat and mashed potatoes or rice and nothing else with no seasoning on it because they were having such a terrible time finding anything that was gluten-free. I know how hard that is. Now you'll see that this is turning white, so it's heating up. Now, the first couple of times I did this, I had the burner set on 1 or 2 really low. It took forever. It really did. Then I figured I'm just going to keep turning it up a wee bit at a time. Now, the deal here is you have to stir it a lot. So this really is the time-consuming part of this, and I wanted to be here with you while I did it because I wanted you to see what I was doing here. And you'll see the little chunks of egg starting to come to the top. The other thing that I'm seeing is the little pink bits in the Redmond real salt. It's not quite warm enough to have melted it yet, so some of the trace minerals in that salt have floated to the top, so that's kind of cool. Makes it pretty. Now this is not a cheap recipe to make, but you can do it cheaper yourself than you could buying something like this in the store. And watching for egg whites to go on sale, I found them on sale in this area. They're close to $8 a carton, $7.50, $7.80, something like that. And I found them on sale for they must be $7.99. I don't remember. At any rate, I found them on sale for less than $5. So I bought a lot of them and I put them in my freezer. You can freeze egg whites. And it doesn't matter if they go past their expiration date, if they're in the freezer, because when you bring them out, they are going to be just fine. So I had several cartons in my fridge, which I am finishing up right now with this carton. And so I took 2 cartons out of the freezer and added them in there. Now the other thing is I'm using a Lactancia butter with sea salt. If you want to do this with generic butter that often is about half the price, not always, but then definitely do that. So just find whatever ways you can. Now you'll see that we're getting a lot more egg white in here, and when you're stirring it you will feel it on the bottom. So that's when you really need to keep stirring and make sure that you're not browning these egg whites. And what we're trying to do, if you've ever had scrambled eggs at a restaurant buffet and they are just cooked to death, they are so dry, that's what we're going for here. Because if we tried to make mashed potatoes out of this right now, it would be soup, not mashed potatoes. And I've made this several times now. Now today, happy Thanksgiving everyone. Today I am doing this so that I can take some mashed potatoes to our family Thanksgiving dinner, because there are going to be 3 of us there that are keto. And so if you're going to a dinner like that and you're keto, you get to sit and watch everybody else eat potatoes and you eat no potatoes. So this is going to let us have mashed potatoes and gravy, and I will be taking some xanthan gum so that I can make the gravy. Okay, now this is, you can see this is really starting to cook, and it's taken us a few minutes. We are definitely going to go past our half-hour mark. There is no doubt about that. Now, in the original recipe, Chris, with Chris Cooks Nashville, said to put all of the other ingredients in the blender and then put the eggs in on top. Now, I did that, and I'm using a Ninja. And what I found is that the stuff got stuck to the side of the jar and didn't work out so well. So what I have started doing is when this starts getting cooked to the point where it's enough, I am adding the gelatin to the eggs and some of the cheese as well. So I don't usually post the recipes. I want you guys to watch the video and write it down. But this one, because I've changed it a little bit, I am going to post the recipe. And this, instead of using egg white powder, which is very, very expensive in Canada, I don't know what it is in the States where he is, but it just was super expensive. So when I looked at the nutritional value, I thought, pardon me, it would be just as good to use protein whey isolate. And I don't have any egg white powder, but the protein whey isolate, which is much cheaper, much easier to get actually, works beautifully. And the potatoes are amazing. Now, I can tell you, and I have said this for years, and I'm going to say it again now, I am absolutely married to the pickiest man in the world. But he picked me, so, you know, you have to be a little forgiving. And he likes these. Now, he has been keto for a long time. And he has done without one of his favorite things, mashed potatoes or baked any kind of potatoes, potato salad. So I started doing this and got him to try it, and he loved it. So, you know, even if you have somebody that is wanting to do keto saying, I can't do it because I couldn't give up my potatoes. Well, you can if you switch it up for potatoes. Okay, so swapped out the egg white powder for protein whey isolate and changed the amount of eggs by about 100 grams. And other than that, it's the same recipe. And so you just need to keep cooking these and cooking these and cooking these until they are just so dry. You're still going to see a little grease from the butter that we put in here, but you're not going to see, if you look in the pan here, look at all of the moisture that's still coming out of those eggs. So this definitely is not done. We're going to keep cooking this for a while. Now, this takes a little bit of time, but I'm telling you, it is absolutely worth it. So once you get this cooked down, and it has to really, really be cooked down, we're going to add both of the gelatins. Take the time to toast your gelatin. It's important. There's 2 teaspoons, or I weighted, how much was it? 6 grams of toasted gelatin and 9 grams, or a tablespoon, of untoasted gelatin. And the gelatin is going to be what gives this its coherence. So when you take it out of the fridge, if you've ever taken mashed potatoes out of the fridge, your leftover mashed potatoes, and they're just kind of one big lump, this comes out exactly the same way. And as you warm it up, and you can reheat it in the microwave easily, do it 30 seconds to a minute at a time to start. Once it starts getting a little bit warmer, 30 seconds max. And if you want to cut the time down a little bit, you can always put it in on defrost. And a lot of foods, if you're putting them in the microwave, I like it on defrost anyway, because if you're reheating, you'll get crispy bits and then parts that aren't even warm yet. Now look at this. We still have a lot of moisture in here. So we're just going to let that cook a little bit without me banging on the bottom of the pan. This is a meat, I don't know what you call it, but this is just the coolest tool. I use it for breaking up hamburgers. It has definitely come in very handy for doing this, because you want these eggs broken up so that they're fairly fine, because when you do that, you can cook the moisture out of them much more easily. If it's a big lump, you're going to get the moisture off the outside, but not off the inside. So this is something that it's going to take half an hour, 45 minutes of your time to do, but it is worth it. So while this is first starting, you can get your other ingredients ready. So we have our 9 grams of regular beef gelatin. Now, I don't know if you could use pork gelatin or not. I like beef gelatin because I get it organic, and it isn't that much more expensive. If you have regular pork gelatin, that's fine. I can't imagine why it would make a difference. They never said one way or the other in the original video, which I have seen several times. So that man is brilliant. I will be forever grateful for having mashed potatoes for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then you need 2 ounces or 60 grams, 2 to 3 ounces, 60 to 90 grams of sour cream, 5 grams of Parmesan cheese. I'm running out of room for ingredients here. Okay, we need, 11 grams of protein whey isolate, and then 2 grams each of cream cheese and mozzarella cheese. And I wanted all of these to be at room temperature. It's going to keep the eggs a little bit hotter when you put them in the blender. And you can see that we're still a ways away. I mean, I don't even have to push on these to show you that they are still cooking out a lot of liquid. So instead of that, what I'm going to do, because we're already past, have you got plans for Thanksgiving dinner? I'm really hoping so, and I hope it involves good family and friends, because there are so many reasons to be thankful. And I will tell you, one of my reasons to be thankful this year is Carnivore mashed potatoes, because this is awesome. Now when you are done cooking it, you have mashed potatoes. Now this is a little bit left over, and so I'm going to show you while this is cooking. This comes out, whoops, this comes out like mashed potatoes would if you put them in the fridge. It really does. And even cold, they are wonderful. And if you are wanting to heat them up, just put however much you want into another container. And I'm just going to do a wee bit so I can show you how they come back. Because I am guessing on Thanksgiving Sunday in Canada, it's not Thanksgiving everywhere, but in Canada it is. Okay, we're going to make sure that these aren't browning because we don't want them to be ruined. When you're doing the recipe for the potato salad, if you get a little bit of browning, that's okay, but for this one, not so much. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the microwave for 30 seconds. And I'll show you. We've still got some bigger lumps in here. Keep chopping. I need to get one of these that's silicone so it isn't so noisy while we're visiting. Hopefully this isn't too terribly noisy. Now I need to have extra of these because my husband is not going to be home for Thanksgiving, so I want to make sure. I got a turkey yesterday, which is not an easy thing to find in Alberta right now. Okay. This is 30 seconds in the microwave, and granted, this is a very small portion, but look, it's already coming back. That is nice and hot. And that is beautiful potatoes. One of the things that I like about this is you can add as much or as little cream as you like. Now this batch should have had a little more cream in it, so I will remember that. One of the really cool things about this is it takes butter or gravy the same as potatoes. Looks like potatoes, tastes like potatoes, and it takes butter or gravy or whatever. Last night I had a hamburger with mashed potatoes on top. 100% carnivore meal, and it was delicious. Now, we've been talking for a bit here, and this you can see, and you can hear actually, it's starting to fry more than boil. Get all these little bits out of from between the tines. Set that over there. It's still got a little bit to go. If you can push on it, you can see the you can see the liquid coming out. Then it is not quite done. So next Sunday when we get together, and you'll have the recipe, I'll put it online in a little bit. Next Sunday when we get together, we will do part 2 of mashed potatoes, and I will have reason to be thankful for mashed potatoes all over again. And you will see them go in the blender and turn into this amazing bowl of whipped potatoes. And it really, I keep calling them mashed potatoes. It really is like a whipped potato because there's no lumps in it. And it just is beautiful and delicious, and I am forever grateful for this. So, we're going to finish cooking this down. And we are almost there. You'll see there's just a little bit of liquid still coming out of this. And if you can push on it and get liquid out, and you'll tell the difference. You can see that it's grease over here and not over here. So we're getting there. We are. But it is definitely a two-part video series. So we will do part 2 tomorrow. Now, if you don't know what you're doing yet for Thanksgiving, now is a really good time to make your plan. Don't do nothing. There's always something to be thankful for. And I know that there are people in this world that are very thankful for you. So reach out to them. Do something. Go for a walk. You don't have to have a great big get-together that involves a lot of work. But you should absolutely think about what it is that you are thankful for in this world, whether it's people or pets or places or whatever it is. I'll tell you, one of the things that I will be forever thankful for is my memories with my grandmother. So my Grandma Hawkins was my hero, and I will always miss her, but even though she's been gone for a very long time, I am still so thankful that I had her for as long as I did. So, people that are here, people that are not, people that will be. Are you expecting a baby in your family? Have you got children or grandchildren that are having birthdays? Or our little granddaughter Hadley just celebrated her birthday with princesses in Disneyland. And I know they had a very special Princess Day planned for her. And we have another grandchild who just turned 18. And a little while before that was one that just turned 17. And in a week or so, we have another one who is going to be 20. So we have all kinds of birthdays. And my nephew is having a birthday right away as well. And I don't know whether he wants me to tell people how old he is. But at any rate, next year we will officially be the parents of 6 children who have no children under 40. So that's what that is. And I am very grateful that they are all happy and healthy and doing well. And look, now we are getting hardly any liquid out of here, just the wee bit of grease, a wee bit of fat that's coming from the butter. And so this is as done as it needs to be. And it is at this point that I start adding other ingredients. You guys want to keep hanging out and we can finish this, or should we do part 2 next week? I don't know. What do you think? I have to keep doing this anyway, so you can hang out here with me. If you want to come back and watch the rest of it later, let's keep going here. So part 2, no part 2, I don't know. We will keep going. So now that this is done, turn the burner off, because once you have cooked the liquid out of here, and it just really is cooked out nicely, now we just have a wee bit of the fat from the beautiful stick of butter that we put in there. So now, now we need to be noisy. Okay, I am going to put part of this into the bowl. Just a second here. Oh, yeah. I'm going to tell you what I do, and then I am totally not going to do it. Now, before I add this in there, I'm going to add the 9 grams of regular gelatin and the 6 grams of toasted gelatin. And I'm also going to add 5 grams or 1 teaspoon of Parmesan cheese. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, but every single one of these flavors is very important to this. And so the others, No, there is one more that I need to add in here. Now this is going to help this melt down and blend in more quickly. So this is 2 ounces of mozzarella cheese. Putting this out at room temperature, or getting it to room temperature, is important because it stops the cheese from cooling down the eggs too much. And I'm going to add 2 ounces of cream cheese. And the other really important ingredient, when we get to it in a little bit, be careful you don't cut yourself on your knife. And I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sour cream and our protein whey isolate. And doing this all in here when the eggs are still sitting on a burner that's, I mean, the burner is hot because it has a hot pan sitting on it, not because it gets hot on its own. But this helps keep the eggs hot while this stuff is getting mixed in. And then now I do not usually use these in a non-stick frying pan. Get things out of the way. And one thing I will say is if you get your ingredients together ahead of time, this is going to go much more quickly. It also definitely makes much more cleanup at the end. You end up with more dishes, but it is well worth it. Now the other thing that you can do if you want is you can mix all your dry ingredients together. Now I am going to I'm being very careful with this spoon because I do not want to wreck my, ouch, I don't want to wreck my metal frying pans. I also don't want to burn myself. That pan is definitely hot. Okay. We get this all in the blender. Once you've got the eggs cooked down, the rest of it goes pretty quickly actually. Now, you can add pepper to this, you can add parsley to this. I'm going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. So not much at all. Now the original recipe called for 1/2 teaspoon, but I think 1/4, for this family get together, 1/4 is going to be much better. And then the very last thing that we need to do is get a few things out of the way so that we can make some noise. Woohoo! Put your hands together, make some noise for mashed potatoes. This is just absolutely the most amazing thing. Now, you are not going to be able to, you're going to be able to hear it, but you're not going to be able to see it. So, there we go. Let's do it this way so that you can see what's happening in the... Now this is going to be noisy. I know it is, and I apologize, but it is what it is. And we're going to turn the power on. We're going to start blending slow. And add some whipping cream. And you'll see down here already it's turning into mashed potatoes. Happy, happy, happy. And then we turn it up. that we have made all that noise, we're going to get back in here, take this lid off, and we're going to scrape the sides down. And this is important, otherwise you will end up with some lumps in your potatoes, and they won't necessarily feel like a potato lump. They'll feel like an egg lump, so we don't want that. And I'm looking in here, and this is already absolutely beautiful. And should we do a taste test? Of course we should. Yep, that is going to be marvelous. Okay, now that we've scraped these sides down, we're just going to turn this on for a couple more minutes. This has to be well blended. If it isn't, it's going to feel grainy. So it's important that you keep blending it until it's done. And when it is, let me show you. Already, we can see. Can you see that? It is looking like mashed potatoes. And that makes me very happy. But they definitely do need to be blended more so they are creamy and smooth, and you're not feeling little bits of egg or anything else in them. So the key is blend it, blend it, blend it. Keep adding cream until it is super silky smooth, and you will have the most amazing mashed potatoes. And it will just, if you're anything like me, it will make your Thanksgiving even more amazing. So that being said, I am going to say thank you so much for being here to join me. I appreciate you more than I can tell you, and I am very thankful for you. So whether you're watching this live or watching it later, I know we've kept you extra today, but make the mashed potatoes. I promise you, you won't be sorry. Watch for your egg whites to be on sale, or it takes about 2 dozen egg whites if you're wanting to use the yolks to make a sauce or an ice cream or hollandaise sauce. That is a wonderful way to use it. Or do you make your own mayonnaise? You can make an egg yolk mayonnaise. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for being here with me. Please do your very best to be the best version of you that you can be. Reach out to someone you haven't talked to for a while and tell them that you're thankful for them. I know it'll mean a lot to them, and it will make your day brighter as well. Thank you for being here with me. I will see you next Sunday with some other crazy new something that I'll do. And thank you to Chris from Chris Cooks Nashville, because I am so grateful for this. I will see you next Sunday. Bye for now.